How you doing? How you doing? How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Patty, and I appreciate you stopping by today. And we're here to actually talk about some kind of cool 1.1 stuff. So everything that we're going to talk about today, these are not patch notes. Okay, this is not hey, all of these things are going to be in 1.1. But think of it as a 1.1 roadmap, essentially. So, essentially, like an hour or so after I'd posted a video yesterday, this one came out. So I apologize that I'm like almost 22 hours late to the party on this one. But you boy had a 13-hour workday. I got a job and then doing a side job right now. It's sorry, I'm late, but I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. And I wanted to talk about some of this stuff because it's pretty cool. So they posted a developer's discussion. Greetings, travelers. Since release, we have received a treasure trove of valuable feedback and suggestions from travelers. First off, we would like to thank all of you for your support. Yay, face. We have carefully reviewed and summarized everyone's suggestions and have selected ones that travelers care about most to bring to the developers' attention. Check out their replies in this developers' discussion. I like this, and I hope that this is something that continues to happen because communication is great if you do it correctly. So I like engaging with the community and everything. Let's take a look at some of the stuff that they're actually bringing in here. So number one, I never have enough original resin, which makes it difficult to complete various daily tasks and the weekly battle pass missions. That's summarizing it shortly, but yeah. In version 1.1, we have decreased the original resin requirement for in Battle Pass weekly missions from 1,600 to 1,200. Because essentially the issue with that was you couldn't do it without refreshing. And I think more than one refresh a day, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So, nice tweaking that. That's a good start. We'll go from here. Furthermore, travelers will be able to store up a maximum of 160 resin, increased from the current limit of 120. That's good. Moving in the right direction. I would like to see them move to something where, the same way that like every, 5 or so level brackets, your like ley lines and stuff like that increase in level. I would like to see, not every level we need to get more resin, but every 5 or 10 levels in adventure rank, getting more resin like that. That makes sense, right? That makes sense to everybody else. So I think that system and moving towards something like that would be a little bit better than just raising the cap by another, 40. So, yeah, good start. We'll leave it at that. So what's the next thing we got? I want to change the key binding / controller setup. We are in the process of developing a key binding and controller setup function, part of which will go live in version 1.1. Let's all reread that part again. Well, it's the last part, really. Part of which. Okay, so we're not going to see all of it, but we're going to see something. So just I want to make sure expectations are clear on that we're not getting controller setup and key bindings. We're getting something. We're firing on all cylinders to complete the remaining functionality, which will become available to players in a later version. Okay, so they're going to get what they can out for 1.1, given that it's November 3rd, which, how many weeks away is that? I'm bad at math. Okay, so it's a little over 2 weeks away. So we'll see. We're obviously, probably in the next week we'll get something closer to patch notes. I don't expect them to wait like days before the patch before they actually give us some full notes for it. But it's at least good to know right now that that is something that is on their radar, and we're getting a bit of it come 1.1. Next one, I wish there was a way to filter artifacts. In version 1.1, we have added new filters for artifacts based on their basic attributes. Now travelers will be able to easily filter artifacts by attributes. Yo. Granted, this sounds like it's going to be a limited version of artifact filtering. Basically, think like old school Summoner's War if you've been playing gacha games for a while, where you'll be able to look like, the main stat on it. So is it attack percentage, HP percentage, stuff like that and everything. We probably won't see anything that's taking like substats into effect for a little while, to say the least. But the fact that this is getting added in already is kind of like, I just want to give them a hand. There's a lot of games that take quite a while to get gear filtering, and that's gonna be so nice, so nice. And I feel like I remember seeing somewhere that they're trying to also make it so that you can lock gear. Maybe that's already a thing and I'm just a fool. Wouldn't be the first time. Not the last. But it'd be really nice to be able to lock certain gears that we want, because when you're trying to feed the 3-star gear that you don't need, or sorry, 3-star artifacts that you don't need, it is very hard to know what you are feeding. So if you could just lock all the good ones that you think you might use so that you can just feed the rest, that'd be great. That'd be great. I'd have to look through a lot less stuff. But I like it. For 1.1, the first patch, already hitting some of these nice notes. I'm getting pretty legitimately excited for it. But let's keep going. What we got? And I'm trying to make it so that I actually know what you guys are looking at too. Alright, so traversing the game world is time consuming. I want to be able to set my own teleport waypoints for areas that I frequently visit. That's a tall glass of water. Like, yeah, you asking for a little bit there. But apparently it's here, because we have developed an item that provides this kind of function, which will be available for free in a new system travelers can look out for this in version 1.1. So the ability to make custom markers, you're now going to be able to teleport to them. That's going to be dope. That you're going to be able to set up farming spots, have quick access to certain bosses that you might farm more than other ones and everything. You're gonna be able to do some nice stuff with that. I'm not sure if there's a limit to the number of custom markers that you can set up and how they're going to tie in the system with being able to teleport them. If there's going to be just anyone that you place anywhere that you can teleport to, or we'll see. Maybe you have to go there in game and then you can set up the teleport thing. Because if you can just click on anywhere on the map and then instantly teleport there because you put a marker there, that's busted. So we'll see, but we're getting some type of teleport, and I'm here for it. Like, that is okay. It's annoying to have to select equipped artifacts and weapons to find out which character has them equipped. In version 1.1, small character avatars will appear next to the icons of equipped artifacts and weapons, allowing travelers to know exactly which characters have which artifacts and weapons equipped at a glance. Okay. That's probably the smallest thing that they put in here. Like, this is... They had, like, Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson and then, a skinny dude named Jim showing up. Like, oh, okay. I mean, glad to see you, Jim, but those guys are big. Getting teleport, gear filtering. Those two things right there I'm pretty excited for. Developer Q&A. How is damage calculated when I have more than one shield, and which shield sustains damage first? So they get into some interesting stuff from here. And this is, I hope we see a lot more of stuff like this too, because the more that we understand how the damage numbers are being ran in the background and everything, and how they're formulating those and put those together, the better time we're going to have trying to build stuff out and everything. So information is power. You always want to know how their math is actually working. That is huge in any game, but especially RPGs. Gotta know them multipliers, kids. But in practice, when a character is hit, the damage sustained will affect every active shield simultaneously. After this damage is calculated, if the character still has shields remaining, the character themselves will not take damage. Example, let's say you are using the character Baido, with both her Tide Collar active at 100 and Noelle's Breastplate at 20. If a monster deals 10 damage to Baido, Tide Collar now has 90 remaining, whilst Breastplate has 10 remaining. Baido does not take damage. So, alright, so alternatively, if a monster deals 50 damage to Baido, Tide Collar now has 50 remaining, whereas Breastplate has been exhausted and destroyed. Baido does not take damage. If a monster deals 110 damage to Baido, both shields are exhausted and destroyed, whilst Baido takes the excess 10 damage. Please note the above example does not take into account the damage reductions or absorption effect enhancements of any kind. So this could be seen as counterintuitive. You could think that they would need to get through every single shield. The fact that it hits them all at once. The only way that I see that working out and being able to stack two shields, like they kind of talk about here in a second, is if you are fighting multiple elements at once and you already have fire on you, like pyro affecting your character, and you're going to get hit with a lightning attack, and perhaps having each of those shields might reduce some of their elemental reaction, but I don't know. So it's definitely cool that they give this information. I don't know if I'm a big fan of how those shields are operating. It just feels like you're losing out a little bit right there on the math side, to be honest. But they go on to say, so let me make sure you can actually see all this. So what's the thinking behind this? Let's invite one of our developers to give us a lowdown on the thought process behind the shield design. Using elemental interactions during combat is Genshin Impact's fundamental combat strategy. Building on this aspect of gameplay is the tactic of using elemental shields to absorb damage of the same element. The mechanic we designed, whereby the character's defensive shields have 250% absorption effectiveness against elemental damage of the same type, is likewise based on the aforementioned consideration. So, essentially, if you had her Baido's Tide Collar at 100 and everything, if she gets hit by an electric attack, that's gonna absorb. Wait, is 250% of 100 really 250? That'd be funny. But it's been a 13-hour day, kids. Petty is tired, but it gives more life on those specific shields, so the fact that the other one's getting hit too counts a little less towards the situation. I don't know in the way that they talk about it here if it means you might reduce the elemental reaction and say lessen your overcharge damage from having that. It doesn't really sound like that's what's happening. It's just going to try and do its best to eat that damage. But the rest of it says, in one respect, our decision not to employ stackable shields in our design was to avoid the need for players to acquire many shield-type characters. This would also have had a negative effect on how the diverse party tactics that we are hoping to see, of course. Retaining one or two types of element shields is a perfectly valid strategy against complex elemental damage, and this can also be achieved rather easily through the crystallized reaction. Well, that marks the end of this developer's discussion. Now get back to working on those updates. Ooh! Back in the hole! Back in the hole! That's rough. We appreciate you, devs. So, I mean, I get what they're going at here. I wish that they would explain a little bit more in depth, specifically just the part about if it will play into anything with the elemental reactions. I can try to ask them about that on the Discord and see if they'll respond in the staff channel. But we'll see. We'll see. So it's a nice, interesting little blurb about shields at the end of like, hey, we're trying to put all the crazy stuff that we can in this patch. And I appreciate that. Um, Obviously, we're gonna try and do a sucrose video today, like we mentioned, but yeah, hinting at patch notes seemed like something we should try and cover. So we'll get the sucrose video out tomorrow. I've got more tile work to do. So that video might actually be out super early, like before noon or around noon tomorrow. So try and get that out before I go and do the work. So we'll see. But thank you so much for stopping by today. I really appreciate you guys. You're gonna have to catch your boy in the next one, cause we out of here. Deuces.